Body language is the nonverbal communication that we exhibit through our posture, gestures, facial expressions, and other physical cues. It can provide valuable clues about a person's thoughts, feelings, and intentions, and it can be particularly useful in a competitive environment like the classroom. Ryuin Kakeru thrives on projecting an aura of fear and dominance. His exaggerated gestures and predatory stance are designed to intimidate. I glimpsed subtle flinches, a slight hesitation in his movements. These micro-expressions indicated he wasn't as invincible as he pretended. It was posturing. That realization allowed me to push back, shifting the balance of power. One of the most important things to remember when decoding body language is to consider the context in which the cues are being exhibited. For example, when Horikita is nervous or anxious, she often fidgets with her hands or plays with her hair. However, in a different context, these same cues might indicate something completely different. Her initial aggression and closed-off posture were clear signs of her deep insecurity and need to prove herself. Recognizing this didn't make me sympathetic, but it gave me an angle. By carefully offering a small measure of validation, her defensiveness slightly lessened. I didn't befriend her. I identified a weakness and found a subtle way to exploit it. It's like a complex code. You can't just recognize the symbols, you need to understand the situation in which they're used. Less complex cases exist as well. Ike Kanji wears his heart on his sleeve. The slump of his shoulders, his downcast gaze, they all broadcast his anxieties and lack of confidence. While I don't waste time meticulously analyzing him, even a cursory glance reveals if he's vulnerable or gathering his courage. It makes him easily manipulated, a tool to be used when the situation calls for it. Another key factor to consider is the individual's baseline behavior. Everyone has their own unique way of standing, sitting, and moving, and it is important to understand what is normal for a particular person in order to accurately interpret their body language. I take the time to learn these baselines. How does Hirata move when he's assured? What are the subtle signs of tension in Karuizawa? Once I understand normalcy, I can spot deviations. Arisu Sakayanagi is a formidable opponent. Her composed posture and measured movements project an air of quiet authority. However, a closer examination reveals subtle tells. The slight tightening of her jaw when challenged, the almost imperceptible shift of her gaze when uncertain. They expose the chinks in her otherwise perfect facade. Recognizing these cues allows me to gauge her true level of confidence and adjust my strategy accordingly. The former student council president, Manabu Horikita, presents another fascinating study. Unlike his sister's outward intensity, his body language exudes controlled discipline. His movements are precise, his expressions carefully managed. Yet there's a rigidity to him, a hint of overcompensation in his perfect posture. This tells me his control comes at a cost, likely fueled by a deep-seated need for order. If properly provoked, that meticulous facade could fracture. Then there's Koenji, a true anomaly. His flamboyant gestures and seemingly unshakable self-confidence mask an intelligence that should be incompatible with his apathy. Most people mistake his eccentric behavior for mere arrogance, but I see something more calculated in the way he holds himself. There's a deliberate intent within his exaggerated movements. Whether it's a genuine personality quirk or a carefully constructed facade remains to be seen. He's a puzzle, yet to be solved. Understanding the thoughts and motivations of those around you can give you a significant advantage, and one of the most powerful tools for gaining insight into the minds of others is body language. My ability to decipher these subtle cues isn't a superpower, it's a carefully honed skill. Years within the White Room taught me the importance of meticulous observation, of noting every minute detail that others might miss. Once you have a good understanding of the context and the individual's baseline behavior, you can begin to look for specific cues that can provide insight into their thoughts and feelings. For example, in the anime, when Kushida is lying or trying to deceive someone, she often averts her gaze or looks away. On the other hand, when she is being sincere or honest, she tends to maintain good eye contact. Her attempts at manipulation are transparent to me. Her act crumbles under the slightest scrutiny. Of course, it is important to remember that body language is just one piece of the puzzle when it comes to understanding people. Verbal communication and other factors also play a role, and it is important to consider all of these elements in order to get a complete picture of a person's thoughts and feelings. People rarely tell you what they truly think, but their bodies often betray them. In addition to decoding body language, it is also important to be aware of the non-verbal cues that we are exhibiting ourselves. By paying attention to our own body language, we can ensure that we are projecting the image and message that we want to convey. For example, in the anime, when I am trying to appear confident and in control, I stand tall and maintain good posture. On the other hand, when I am trying to appear more approachable and friendly, I use open body language and make an effort to maintain good eye contact. Sometimes the best tactic is non-confrontational. I've found that if I subtly mirror someone's posture and gestures, it can create a sense of rapport. By learning to decode body language and effectively utilize non-verbal cues, we can gain a significant advantage in any situation. Whether we are trying to persuade someone, build rapport, or simply understand their thoughts and feelings, being able to read and interpret body language can be a valuable tool. The classroom is my primary field of operation. This environment, a microcosm of society, teems with hidden motivations and desires.